Hi, my name is Gwendolyn Beetham, and I'm the Associate Director of GSWS. I'm here to introduce you to the work of this year's senior thesis students. This year, instead of an in-person gathering, our students have compiled their research on our website, which you can view at gsws.sas.upenn.edu. So in addition to the information on the website, I wanted to share a few words about this work that I've compiled both from my own interactions with their projects as well as feedback from their advisors. Each student was advised by a team, a faculty member, and an undergraduate student from the GSWS community. This was the first year that we had our graduate mentorship program working. And so I wanted to thank the faculty members and the graduate students who advised these theses. Your contribution to the community is so appreciated. Thank you so much. So to begin, let's start with Jessica Aratin. Jess's project was called Queer Aestheticism, A Mirrored Resistance, Andy Warhol and the Picture of Dorian Gray. Jess's project was advised by Professor Jonathan Katz, and Jonathan had this to say about Jess's work. Jess Aratin is the strong, silent type, except when she's not being silent, only to come through as thoroughly strong. As a scholar of real insight, she writes in a fluid, beautifully crafted style that belies her age. Her understanding of queer literature is always leavened by a searching engagement with political and, above all, moral themes, as if doing queer studies was a species of ethics, and in her hands it is. Congratulations, Jess, on a fantastic project, a project that I know that you worked on for a long time, and that grew out of a real interest and engagement in these themes from your junior year and before. Next, we have Mary Brady. Mary's project is the impact of the minimum wage on the gender wage gap. And Mary was advised by Professor Don Teal and graduate student Lauren Kaufman. And here are some of Lauren's comments. Serving as Mary's GSWS graduate student mentor this year has been an absolute pleasure. Her project, which examines the outcome of minimum wage laws on the gender pay gap, is novel, timely, and well considered. Mary is whip smart, always kind, and I firmly believe she will succeed in whatever she chooses to do. As do I, and I just want to echo Lauren's comments and offer my own thinking about Mary's work in that it's so incredibly important for this moment. We've seen really the devastating and gendered effects of the lack of a living wage and support for women, and the gendered effects of these kinds of policies in the global pandemic. And I think that Mary's project, though it didn't, of course, set out to do that, certainly has implications for this political moment. So thank you, Mary, and congratulations. Next, Briar Essex. Briar's project is also a creative writing project titled Transcripts, or a Provisionary Poetics. Briar was advised by Professor Jeff Johnson and graduate student Davy Neill. So Briar was late to the GSWS major. In fact, they just declared this year. But I will say I can't remember Briar not being around. That's the kind of impact that they've had on the GSWS community. Briar's thesis, which again is also their creative writing thesis, is an experiment in blending poetry, queer, and trans theory. And I'm not alone in believing that this experiment worked. Briar's work was selected for the Linda S. Hart Award, which is an award given by GSWS that's named after the pioneering queer scholar and late Penn professor of English, Linda Hart. I didn't know Linda Hart, but I do know the significance of her work to early queer studies, and I do not think I exaggerate when I say that Briar's work is part of a new generation of scholarship that will yet again explode our current understandings of theory. Here's what Davy had to say about Briar's work. Transcripts intervenes in the intersection of trans studies and contemporary poetics. The project's words and definitions combine the lexical building blocks of trans studies with language important to a range of critical engagements with the social and physical lives of bodies, including able, child, natural, and optimism. Building on critical work in trans studies that seeks to make all people's gendered experience the subject of the field, Transcripts offers an important blueprint for how the etymology of words that circulate in everyday conversations in English carry gendered, class, and racialized information, and connect the classroom to the street in a way that emphasizes and extends the long-standing goals of intersectional feminist, trans-feminist scholarship, activism, and engagement. We look forward to continuing to engage with Breyer's work. Next, we have Lynette Finnegan, who was advised by Nat Ribkin. And here's what Nat has to say about Levette's work. Levette's honors thesis is a brilliant exploration of queer trans archives and the worlds they make possible. Their work illuminates the stories of those whose lives were not allowed in public memory. In both its archival depth and its political relevance, the project is vital and optimistic. Lynette is an inventive and skillful writer who resists the silence imposed on our communities and our histories. I am so excited to keep reading Levette's fantastic writing. I'm going to echo Nat's comments here and just adding to this how important it is to view and to be a part of that optimism generated by Levette's work. So thank you so much for this offering, Lynette. Next, Wes Neill, whose title is Transcolonialism, the State Project and White Trans Men in the United States from 1870 onward. And Wes was advised by Davy Neill. So the subject of Wes's research, which puts feminist, trans, and urban studies into conversation, really breaks new theoretical ground. This shouldn't be shocking to anybody at all who knows Wes, right? Here's what Davy has to say about the thesis project. Neill's thesis revisits the legacy of settler colonialism in the United States, arguing that the claiming of indigenous land and the forced removal of indigenous people was perpetuated by their effort to seek recognition within normative U.S. society, and particularly through their involvement in suburban communities. Undergraduate thesis projects often locate a student's experience in the communities or systems with which they identify. Wes began such a project and worked diligently to expand a personal interest into an impressive national history of race, gender, land, and power. Moreover, I really want to note that it's important to say that Wes embarked on this topic with little faculty guidance. There are few faculty members at the university with knowledge of this field of trans studies, and even fewer with the availability for undergraduate support. Although he was really fortunate to have the support of a brilliant member of the GSWS community, Davy Neill. It's Wes's passion and commitment to this project, which is really what drove him, and is why one of the reasons why Wes won the Linda S. Hart Award and was inducted into Phi Beta Kappa. So congratulations, Wes. Incredible achievement. Destiny Rivers' project is next, titled Utilizing Doulas to Achieve Reproductive Justice for Black Women. Destiny was advised by Professor Grace Sanders Johnson and Gabriela Knowles Cotito. And here are Grace Sanders Johnson's comments. Destiny's research is a necessary assessment of Black women's reproductive health in the United States. Destiny builds on the critical inquiries started over 30 years ago by Black reproductive justice activists like Loretta Ross and Dorothy Roberts. She further interrogates Black women's disproportionate rates of undesired reproductive health outcomes, including death and forced sterilization. Probing the philosophical foundations of the reproductive rights pro-choice movement, Destiny's work highlights Black women's reproductive experiences and troubles the meaning and presumptions of choice for Black women by focusing on their decisions, desires, and practices regarding prenatal and postpartum care. Destiny's work presents clear pathways for understanding reproductive health through her attention to Black mothers, doulas, midwives, as theorists of their own practices in her research. In this regard, her project disrupts popular and scholarly discourses that often silence or marginalize Black mothers and birth partners' assertions about their capacity to offer and receive care. To do this, Destiny took on the daunting task of not only gathering and analyzing data, but also developing her own ethics of care as she conducted interviews and participated in reproductive health conferences for her project. Her thesis offers the kind of archival intervention that can contribute to real justice for Black women. This is another instance where I saw a really positive connection between the grad student mentor and the undergraduate thesis student. Gabriella mentioned on more than one occasion how happy she was to be a part of this project and to get to know Destiny's work. The passion that Destiny has for this topic really shines through in this work, and I'm really excited to see where that passion combined with analytical skill takes Destiny in the future. And finally, Chloe Tan. Chloe's work is titled Matters of the Heartland, Housing, Kinship, and State Power in Singapore. Melissa Sanchez was the faculty advisor for the project, and Ava Kim was the graduate student. Melissa Sanchez says, I've known Chloe Tan since she was a sophomore in my Intro to Queer Theory class. In that time, I watched her work develop from the smart and passionate papers she wrote as a sophomore to the insightful and sophisticated research papers she wrote for a course on women writers when she was a junior, and finally, to a senior thesis that is already at the level of an advanced graduate student. Chloe's thesis is a stunning interdisciplinary project tracing the conjunction of globalization, ethnicity, class, gender, and kinship, analyzing government policies, housing, urban design, economic history in Singapore. Chloe reveals the contradictory logics of gendered sexual norms amidst global capital, even as she explores contemporary literature as a form of political theory and protest. L.J. Kim adds, in the short time that I've worked with Chloe, she has consistently demonstrated an unparalleled ability to think, write, analyze, and communicate content across a variety of disciplines, scales, and subject areas. Echoing that, this was so clear to me as well, as it was to the committee who awarded Chloe the Carol Smith Rosenberg Award for Most Outstanding GSWS Undergraduate Thesis. Chloe's work is so emblematic of the best of gender studies thinking, clear and concise, yet deeply nuanced as it weaves together different disciplinary approaches, creating something all its own. I'm excited to see where Chloe takes this work, and I hope you will join me in congratulating her. And in close, I want to thank all of the members of the GSWS community for supporting our graduate thesis students. Again, I invite you to our website to take the time to learn more about their work and join me once again in congratulating them on this incredible accomplishment. So congratulations, Jess, Mary, Destiny, Wes, Briar, Lovett, and Chloe. It's been my absolute pleasure getting to know you, getting to work with you this year. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for supporting each other, particularly in these times. I'm so proud of you, and I wish you the very best in what comes next. Take good care.